Okay, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a look at these wedges from Epon. Now, for those of you who've never heard of Epon, it's a Japanese company. They started, not Epon themselves. Epon's been going since 1977. But Epon are forged by a company called Endo. Now, Endo is world famous for their forging, making a lot of top quality high-end clubs. In particular, probably the most famous clubs that Endo have ever forged, probably Tiger Woods 681 Titleist. So most people would say that Miura did that or Mizuno did his old Titleist, but no, it was actually Endo, along with another company. But that they did some raw forgings, and anyway, long story short, Endo, one of the best forging companies in the world, comfortably. So today we're going to talk about their wedges, which is where they're most famous for, to be honest. So we'll have a quick chat about those. Okay, so there's three models, and they've all got different colours here. We've got, this is the M, it's now the M2. They've got a new model. This one here is the S in the black colour here. And then we have the L, which is red. Now they're all forged out of, what is it called? S20C carbon, which is really soft carbon, basically. Really nice stuff. Now the M is like the player's wedge. It's a small, compact head. It's small, it's almost smaller than, say, a Vokey. It's quite compact, really classic shape. Just a tiny bit of rounded edge here. Not much. I think it's relatively square. I really love the shape. I think it's unbelievable, amazing shape. Laser milled face, but a classic, style shape. Now the difference between M and, say, S, if I grab the S wedge, which has got a little black here, again, very clean looking. Now the S has got, it's got this special milling called phrase milling. It almost looks, it's hard to see, but it almost looks 3D. It's got this extra milling on this face for more spin, basically. It's a slightly bigger head. So if I looked at the two, I'm not sure if you can actually tell there, but this S is a slightly bigger head than the M. So a little bit more forgiving, right? It's a little bit more forgiving and a smidge extra offset. So for someone that looks for a little bit of forgiveness, maybe this S wedge is the one for you. Beautiful wedge. Then that runs into the L. Now the L has got the red here. Again, these are all 56-degree wedges. The L's a very different one. So it's the same size as the S, same size heads. But if you have a look at the hosels here, have a look at this hosel. It really kicks in. It really kicks in here. Never seen this before in a wedge. Compared to that normal style hosel, right, we've got two really different. Now this has got quite a bit of offset, and this area it's almost cut out, so you can't shank it. That's what it is. It's an anti-shank club. Not sure how popular these ones are. They tell me they're not the most popular model. But certainly for the person that doesn't mind a little Tommy Tank, a bit of a shank, then this L might be the one for you. Quite offset, a little bit different looking. So I'm going to hit some shots with each and tell you what I think. Okay, so I'm going to start with the M wedge, Tour wedge M2. I've built them all with Modus 115 wedge shafts. It's a really nice wedge shaft. Also with an ionic grip. So Japanese grip, Japanese shaft, Japanese head. So I'm going to hit some shots and see how this feels. Got a target out here at 65 meters, just a really smooth. That was nice flighted. I flighted that one down a little bit. Feels good. I mean, obviously, anytime you're doing a wedge fitting, you want to get your... That one should have a fair bit of spin on it. It's a little bit low on the face. Anytime you're doing a wedge fitting, you know, you want to dial in distances and whatnot. These, I've just got, like I said, all in a 56. I'm just going to hit a few and just, you know, run a comparison of how they feel. But this M2 certainly could easily find its way into my golf bag. It is a beautiful feeling wedge. Absolutely love it. Okay, so next up is the S wedge. Again, it's got the same makeup, Modus 115 shaft, Iomic grip. Looking down, it's just that little bit bigger. It's a good size. It's quite large. I can see the little bit of offset. It's just got a little bit more than the M. I mean, it's almost identical feel as the M. They're not really massively different there. Probably hit some better shots with this, that's for sure. Some nice shots. I don't know, you know, from the purist point of view, I love the extra milling on the face. I think that looks really spectacular. That was out of the toe, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. It's not chunky, like it's not massive. And I suppose it only looks bigger because I've just hit the M wedge. Again, it just feels awesome. It feels so good. You know, people talk about Epon. Like I say, they're quite famous for their wedges. They talk about how long these things last. So people have been just wrapped in, you know, most wedges, if you get 12 months out of them and you play a lot of golf, you've done well, but people are saying that these last for, you know, they can last for a few seasons at least because of the quality of the metals. And that one bounced a little bit. I felt the bounce on that one. I chunked it a little, but still, yeah, I think for those players that are a little bit scared of the blade, this S wedge is, it's outstanding, love that. Okay, so now we've got the L. Now there is a slight difference. It's the same sort of shape as the S, but with the S and the M, this edge here is very clean, quite sharp, and this one's got a little beveled edge, which I don't mind the look of that. I think that looks really smart. It's got a forgiving look, but still classic, if that even makes sense. There's just little things that build your confidence as far as being able to hit this thing. The thing that I'd be honest, this channel's about honesty. I don't love this. I mean, it's almost like they've cut out it, they've put a golf ball there and cut it out so you can't shank it. I don't love that. But at the end of the day, you know, these are your scoring clubs. They've got to work for you. And if I found something that just performed well, I'd go with it, right? So let's hit some shots with this club, the anti-shankaroo, and see how it goes. Again, feel, you know, how do you describe feel? I mean, feel is what I feel, and you might feel something different, but the feel of these wedges is ridiculously good. I mean, that feels so good, so good. I'm subconsciously, I'm fighting a left, so not even subconsciously, I'm consciously trying not to hit it left because there's so much offset. There's like 4 mil of offset in it. So it's almost like leading edge. If you come down here and try and get an idea straight down that shaft, you can see leading edge and it's almost half a shaft, right? They say 4 mil of leading edge offset there. So that's substantial for a wedge for sure. There's heaps of offset. So I don't really want it to go left on me. So I'll consciously try not to hit it left. Again, I don't feel like I centered that, but a wonderful result. You know, for a club that it's a dead set blade, all of these wedges are blades, there is still forgiveness. And I think that's in quality of material, quality of forging process. I mean, if anyone knows anything about forging, or has done any research about forging and who's the best at forging, we know that Endo's the company. They're the go-to as far as you want quality forging, that's where you go. And this wedge, although it is not pleasing to my eye, there's definitely a place in the market for it. For someone that, struggles, hits the odd hose lay, dare I say the word shankaroo. Still, I'm getting the same feel. I'm not getting a different feel from this massively offset wedge. It's still giving me beautiful feel. Should I get a little bit extra spin in that one? But I'm using Pro V1X. That's my, it's a great ball to use to get plenty of spin. I just can't get over how good these things feel, to be honest. So let's have a look and see what sort of results we get. Okay, so here's the results. I suppose as to be expected somewhat, we've got the same sort of ball speeds here, almost identical. Very similar launches. I mean, I suppose they're similar, right? The L wedge, funnily enough, the big no hosel wedge spun more than the others by a couple of hundred RPM. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with a larger case study or whatever, but they're all extremely, extremely similar. I've hit the same shots with all three, so super impressed with all of them. They're not full shots, they're just little pitch shots. So I've done all right there, to be fair, with my strikes. I didn't put any dots on, so there's no club data for today. But I just wanted to basically outline what the differences are between these three beautiful wedges. Okay, so really consistent, all of them, all of those three wedges, M wedge, S wedge, L wedge, all great. And usually sometimes when you pick up forgiveness, you drop spin with a wedge, so that's what I love about these. I'd be choosing the wedge that suits your eye, and obviously, suits your game, your ability. For me, I could play any of them; they'd be fine. I mean, even the big anti-hosel wedge still produced plenty of spin, so it's probably going to go more left with that amount of offset. It's heaps more offset than, say, the M wedge. But I don't, whichever way you go, if you're thinking about a new wedge and you're thinking about something that's pure, that feels amazing, S20C carbon, the best forging process in the world. These things are only hit 3 times in the forger. So they get in this big press 3 times and that's it, finished. Then they go and do the rest of the finishing. So that's why they're so soft, because they're not just constantly beaten. I mean, if you get a piece of meat and you just keep whacking it, eventually it gets pretty tough, right? So Endo is able to finish their clubs with just 3 hits and done. And that's why they're so good. That's why they've got such a good reputation.